All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Washed Athlete Podcast. This is episode 12. And we have a lot to talk about because we are recording this probably 10 minutes after the national championship game for men's basketball. And yeah, we have some very strong opinions in this chat that we have been trying to hold back and save for the podcast. So yeah, let's just get right into that. So
UNC pack, they're frauds.
UNC choked a 15-point lead going into halftime. That was one of the worst collapses I think I have ever seen at a sports game.
Yeah, and it's not even the way it's not just that they collapsed, but like the way they collapsed. I mean, not only was UNC 20-0 or 21-0 leading at halftime this season, but like the way they were just blowing out Kansas, you could have convinced me they were up by 30. I mean, they were just like draining threes, stripping and blocking everything Kansas tried to do, and then they just got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, Kansas came out swinging in the second half, and I don't know like what adjustments that coach made at half, but UNC just could not stop them. Like, I don't know what was going on.
There's the ghost of Coach K.
It's the ghost of Coach K that made them collapse.
I mean, Kansas came out and they were pressing everything really high. Like, they weren't giving space. So, like, if they got beaten on the perimeter, then there would have been a lot of open room up, unless the center was dropping back. But the problem was that, like, they would get past sometimes. Sometimes they wouldn't get past and it was just, like, clamps. But other times, like, the point guard, which is either Caleb Love or RJ Davis, they would get past. And they'd get to the middle of the floor and they'd either go for, like, a mid-range shot, a floater, or they try to find someone on the outside, but like they were just getting stolen. The passes were bad. They were either chucking up bad shots. I think there's like 4 straight possessions where like they got stolen, blocked, like intercepted, ball went out of bounds. Like, and all it takes, I mean, I think Kansas went on like a 8-0 run in like 2 minutes or something. Like, it was something really absurd where that gap closed fast and hard, and then all of a sudden it was like, I mean, once you get to a 5-point basketball game, it takes literally like 10 seconds for the game to turn around. So once you get within 5, it's anyone's game. And Kansas got it down there. UNC pushed back. I mean, I was a little nervous that once Kansas got back into the game, they were just going to blow out UNC because like that's how the half was going. But then as soon as like the game got tied, it plateaued for a little bit, and it was a really competitive like back and forth game until I don't even know. Kansas got up 6 at one point, and I like looked at the screen and I was like, I don't know how Kansas got up 6. Like,
yeah, because they just hit 2 threes like back to back, and it was like, oh, I guess Kansas is winning.
Yeah, I took a long look at my phone and I was like, wait, hold on, Kansas is up 6. I mean, they're really out here now. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was a wild game. And Justin, what are your opinions on RJ Davis, real quick?
I mean, I like the guy. I think he's got a lot of talent. He reminds me a lot of Cole Anthony, like the way they play their game. And Cole Anthony is a good NBA player right now, even in his rookie year. But my man sold. He had the ball in his hand. I'd love to see like usage percentages for like the first half of that half, but every time I looked at the offensive possession, RJ Davis was bringing the ball up the court. He was coming off a screen from Baycott, and then every single time he was turning the ball over, taking bad shots, and then even defensively, he looked lost for most of the half. Towards the end, he took a gamble with like, I don't know, like 3-4 minutes left in the game, and it led to an open Kansas 3. Now they missed it, but if they had made that would have completely been on Davis gambling for the steal, and that game would have been over well before Caleb Love missed that 3 towards the end. So really, like, he didn't have composure. He had the ball in his hands a lot. I mean, he's probably pretty young. I don't know what year he is in, but like, it's not like his NBA future's over, or if he decides to stay in college, like his college career's over. Like, I genuinely like the guy, but like, they just need to take him out of the game or get the ball out of his hands. He was just making every single bad decision, like just getting tortured on the outside by Kansas more experienced defenders, and it was very evident. I wasn't even like looking at RJ Davis, and I was just, every time I looked up, I was like, dude keeps getting burned every time. And yeah.
Jacob, do you have a rebuttal?
I mean, I was just gonna say, I don't see how you can like RJ Davis based off what you were saying when the plays were happening. You said that you weren't hating on the guy, bro, you were saying like it needs to get out of the game and just
He
like
did need to get out of the game. That's what happened. People talk about benching Ben Simmons all the time for the Sixers, and you bench Ben Simmons because of the exact reason that he should be out of the game right now because he's not benefiting the team.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, like it was just I don't know what it was, but like it seemed like he had like such a good first half, and then like he just completely lost his composure. I think you were saying that earlier, where it's like he just like looked panicked, and like he was like I think I might have like even sent in the group chat where it was like he just like pulled up like for a three that was like well outside the arc. It's like and they were up by like 8 at that point. It's like you don't need to shoot the three. Like just calm down and get some points on the board. Like get a good shot. Like that's what you need. You don't need to just immediately in transition take the three and then give it right back to Kansas. It's like, dude, you're up. You just need to get points. Like it's okay. Like, just calm down.
Yeah, absolutely. I said my first text about it was that I said RJ Davis needs to get the ball out of his hands. He's holding for 25 seconds and forcing the issue. Spread the ball from the post with Baycott and they will be good.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went down more. I said in all caps, get RJ Davis out of the game. He's lost. And then I said part 10 that RJ Davis is lost. This was 10:54 and the first text was 10:46. So I gave him like 10 minutes of solid run. And I was like, he just looks lost. And that's okay if you like are lost. You need to be taken out of the game, take a breather, come back in and do your thing. Like there's no issue in that, but just don't be like if you're gonna play that bad, you need to be out of the game because Caleb Love could have done what Art and Caleb Love did not have a good game at all. So like neither of their backcourt guys showed up today, but at the end of the day, you still needed to like someone needed to do something, and it wasn't happening.
Well, hey, Puff did show out today.
Puff Johnson did show out today. It was cool to see. So I love Puff because his name is funny, and I didn't realize it till like really recently, but he's a brother of Cam Johnson who plays for the Suns, and I'm a big Cam Johnson fan because when he was playing for UNC, well, first of all, he went to Pitt, and then he transferred to UNC. So Cam Johnson, who's in the NBA now, is like technically like a kind of a Pitt guy, which is kind of cool.
Oh.
But he transferred from Pitt to UNC because the Pitt's basketball team's ass.
Well, that's detail we don't need to worry about.
Yeah. So Cam Johnson was going to the draft, and the Sixers really needed 3-point shooting, and I was really high at Cam Johnson when we had like the 15th pick or something, and I was like, it would be great if Cam Johnson fell to us. And a lot of projections had us like not even taking him because he was going to go later in the first round. And I was like, no, well, you can go up and draft him early. And I think the Phoenix Suns had like the 7th or 8th pick in the draft. And I'm already a Phoenix Suns fan. And I was like, I didn't know who they were going to draft. And they draft Cam Johnson. There's this very viral video of Kobe White figuring out after he was drafted that Cam Johnson was picked at like number 8. And Kobe White is losing his mind because he was so shocked that Cam Johnson had been selected so early. So I was like, a little, as a Suns fan, I was still a little hesitant because I was like, it's really early to pick Cam Johnson. They must have really seen something. And Cam Johnson has been fabulous for the Suns. He's got multiple games where he's dropping 20 plus points on like 7 threes and whatnot. Like, yeah, Cam Johnson's a very solid NBA player and has a lot of potential to be like the 3rd guy on a team one day for a championship.
Wow.
I mean, he really fills out the wing rotation for the Suns right now. And so when I found out that Puff played for them, I was like, man, this is great. Not only does he have an iconic name, just like Puff.
Yeah, Puff Johnson is that's such a good name. Yeah,
but his brother is someone who I wanted on the Sixers, didn't end up on the Sixers, ended up on my second favorite team, and he's been awesome in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, that analysis right there was like all time right there. Like I am very impressed, Justin, with that basketball analysis right there.
Thank you. It is very sad that Cam Johnson didn't work out for Pitt. I need to get like a Cam Johnson Pitt jersey.
Oh my god. Okay.
And just like rock around and see who notices. I mean, besides Steven Adams, he's the most popular athlete to come past.
I gotta ask my manager if I can go into like the really old like Pitt gear like rooms that they have and see if I can find you one of those jerseys because that would be so. It exists. Wow. Oh my god.
That's actually insane.
For audio listeners, Justin is holding up a picture of him in a Pitt uniform. So we do know the jersey exists. I'll look for that and see if I can find it. Oh,
it's a throwback because of the navy blue on the jersey.
Those are kind of hard jerseys.
He was here for the rebrand. He was here for the rebrand too.
Rebrand? Oh my
god. Because Cam Johnson's pretty old. I think he was drafted. Like that was part of the concern with him why he didn't get drafted so soon. It was like because he was like a 23, not 23 probably, but 22 years old. Let's see, Cam Johnson's 26 now, and I think he's been in the league. He was drafted in 2019. It's 2022, so Yeah, he's been in the league for 3 years. Yeah, he was at Pitt for 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. And then he
Oh.
transferred to, how did he play 6 years? Whatever variation of this, it might have been like with the league change.
Well, he
for a while.
probably
played-
redshirted, and then when you transfer, I think you have another year of eligibility. I
Yeah.
think something like that.
But like Cam Johnson's right now is averaging 12.7 points per game, and he's 12, 4, and 1. And I don't have the shooting splits because this was short, but even like 12 points for a guy who's a 5th year in college. And when you watch him play, you know he's more valuable than that.
Yeah.
But he's been
Dang.
a little injured. He's been injured recently, so we wish him well.
Oh. That's our Pitt guy now. Now
know.
I have to get a jersey. Like now I just have to get his jersey because I didn't realize he was a Pitt guy.
No, and Puff and Cam look exactly alike. Like when I first saw Puff, I was like, that guy looks a lot like Cam Johnson. And then I saw his last name was Johnson, and I was like, this dude's Puff Johnson. It's so cool. I was like, shit. I looked it up, and I was like, that's Cam's brother. I was like, I knew it. Like they look identical.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, well, out of the most wild like NCAA tournament I feel like we've had in a long time, number one Kansas wins. It's like you could have had that in as like, oh yeah, like here's an autofill. It's like, yeah, Kansas wins, whatever. Not thinking like in any way. It's like, yeah, they'll probably get upset because number one seeds almost like never win. It's always like a number 2 and number 3. But like out of all this crazy upsets, all like the storylines and everything, it's like, yeah, Kansas won. It's like, okay, that didn't really seem that crazy.
Yeah, yep. It's just every year a Cinderella team makes it through, and they're like, this is gonna be the year that
This
a
is
really
the
like
year.
low seed wins, and it doesn't happen often. It's usually a 1, 2, or a 3 seed. And even with one of the craziest tournaments we've had in a really long time, potentially ever, I don't know what the stats will say.
Yeah,
It comes down to Kansas, the number 1 seed. Probably, I think they were the 3rd favorite team to win the tournament, winning the whole thing. It just, you can't beat like the favorite. And even it was very possible that it was going to be a Duke Kansas
yeah,
matchup, and Duke
exactly.
Kansas would have been something that like you wouldn't have even been crazy for predicting.
Exactly.
If someone at the beginning of the tournament had said Duke Kansas in the finals, you would have been like,
Hot take.
of course that happened. Like that's not that shocking.
Yeah, that would have been like you would have been made fun of. It's like, dude, that's not gonna happen, bro. Someone's gonna have an upset. It's like, no.
So
At least we got like another one of those like iconic, just like legendary March Madness teams. Like we got St. Peter's, who's going to be up there with your UMBCs, your Loyolas. So
Yep.
that's nice. Like immortalized.
Don't forget
I
Oral
like that.
Roberts. That you're sleeping on Oral.
Don't
Roberts.
forget
of
Oral
course.
Roberts.
Of course. Never
God.
forget the OSU upset.
They are legendary for that one.
Just for the name.
Just for the name. God. That's. I think there was some. I forget where it was. You know, I'm just gonna cite NFL memes just so we can do that. It probably is on there at some point. But it was like the applicant rate for Oral Roberts, like after that game, jumped like 300% from like the previous year, something like that. So many more people applied to that school just because they made it into the tournament and beat Ohio State. It was so funny.
Yeah, and it's cool to see people get opportunities. I mean, St. Peter's coach goes to Seton Hall for next year. It's where he played basketball when he went to college, and like it's a bigger job opportunity. Who knows what else it'll lead to? It's just cool to see these little schools get like the opportunity to go play. And absolutely people will apply to it because they'll be like, that's a cool school. Or just gets a name out and they look at it and they figure out it's a small school in a location they're interested in and they've never heard of it before and they apply.
Up in Jersey.
Exactly. Shout out Jersey.
I got a question.
Okay.
Other than like you can't count this national championship game or the Villanova UNC one because those are two like basic. Name a national championship game that is your favorite.
Oh, I couldn't. I don't have the memory for that.
I don't know.
My March Madness like historical knowledge is pretty limited, not gonna lie.
But can I say Baylor Houston?
Baylor Houston, sure. Yeah.
There we
Okay,
go.
cool. Last year's NCAA tournament.
There we go.
No, I don't honestly have like I watch college basketball every year it's on, but like the actual depth of knowledge I have. Actually, I'll go ahead and say win Virginia. I don't remember who they played when they won, but it was cool because I had picked Virginia back to back. They got upset by the 16 seed. I took them again the next year, and they pulled it out. But I don't remember who they were playing.
Someone.
Was it like Michigan?
Oh, I think it
Ooh, was that the
right?
Jordan? Was
Ooh.
that the Jordan Poole team?
Might have been. It might be that up. I
I
think
feel like I remember Michigan in the finals and they got smoked.
Yeah, no, I remember that too.
No, it was Texas Tech
Oh, wow.
Oh, what? When did Texas Tech make the final?
in 2019.
Huh, I did not know that.
wait, has Michigan made the finals recent like in the past like 3 to 4 years?
Pitt.
Michigan.
Oh,
Why would you ask Pitt? We can't even make the
his-
tournament.
his audio cut off. I don't know.
I think the last time Pitt made the tourney was 2016.
I think so.
Yeah, but we were a first round exit.
We were in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I remember we like got close a couple times and just like, of course, choked and just like lost to teams we should and then just fell out of the bracket.
Close but no cigar.
Sounds about Pitt.
Yes, that's about Pitt. Michigan definitely had played in
Maybe a
recently, though.
final four, but not a final because Kansas won this year. Obviously, no. Baylor, Houston last year, Virginia, and what's its face?
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech in 2019. Villanova won in 2018 against UNC.
Oh,
Was it
such a
or
good-
that no? 2016 was the UNC one of those games. But I know they did play against Michigan, and then North Carolina won in 2017. I don't remember who they played. Oh, I have the brackets here. This is interesting. Whoa, this is a crazy year. What? Am I looking at the girls bracket or the guys bracket? Oregon and Kansas played.
Oregon?
Oh wait, hold on. I had something messed up. Okay, I'm good now. I've recovered. It was Gonzaga, West Virginia, and then North Carolina Butler in the Final Four, and then it was a Gonzaga North Carolina championship game.
West Virginia was in the Final Four?
Final Four, yeah.
Since when?
No, I was right
What?
actually. 2018 was Michigan.
Or
Yeah.
was not. Wait, hold on.
Where did Gonzaga won it? When was
Yeah,
that?
they lost by 20 to
No,
Villanova.
okay, they were in the Final Four. I think. Okay,
No.
they're doing this really confusing. The way this bracket's laid out on my phone, I think Gonzaga maybe played South Carolina. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. It was Oregon, North Carolina, Gonzaga. Okay, I got it now. Sorry, West Virginia was not in the Final Four. Ignore it. But South Carolina was in the Final Four for the men, which is crazy because their women's team now is dominating because they won
really good, yeah.
They won the NCAA tournament, which is worth noting.
Mhm.
They've won. I think they won it not last year, but the year before that.
Yeah, they've been
Well,
like pretty consistent.
That was a
with
COVID year, but the last time it was not COVID year. Not last year. The year before that was COVID, but then the year back,
Yes.
they had won it again. So they've got like 2 in the last 3 tournaments, which is good for them. I mean, they're historically
Really good.
dominant, and of
Yeah.
course they play UConn, which now is a big deal because South Carolina's kind of kicked UConn's ass the last couple of years in terms of standings. Really big shift because UConn used to dominate women's basketball. It was like every year for a while that UConn was having undefeated seasons.
Yeah.
And I mean, even UConn now has the most popular player, and you could argue the most popular player in college basketball, honestly, in Paige Buckners. She is an
Yeah.
icon. Because most of the kids in the men's go to if they're really good, they go to the league. So like, I honestly can't tell you if Paolo Banchero is a bigger name than Paige. I don't think he is.
No, I would say that she's a bigger name for sure.
Yeah.
Cause I think you hit the nail on the head with your analysis there.
Justin just coming out swinging with the basketball analysis.
I'm ready.
Bro, we should have plugged you into the UNC coach's headset. You were breaking down the game. You were like, this is what he needs to do. They need to stop taking those shots. They need to work the screens. Like, should have just plugged you right into his headset.
Mm-hmm. Well, college basketball does make you appreciate. I'm not going to go on too much of a basketball rant here, but what it does make you appreciate is like the big men in the NBA are so skilled at what they do. You see these like hook shots Do not know the center. I do not know anyone on Kansas's team. I'm just gonna be like straight up. Like I barely watched them play this tournament. What?
They got Remy Martin. I know that.
Yeah, he was off the bench. Okay, they had McCormack. He was the center he was a forward. I guess he's listed as a forward here, but he really is a center. He was playing center today, and like he has this like hook shot, and so does Baycott. They have both these hook shots that they do, but they look so aggressive and non-finesse. When you watch guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, even like people like Bam Adebayo and even Rudy Gobert in some sense, like they have so much more flick on the ball where it's just so much more finesse. And you see these centers and they're like chucking it off the backboard, they're rushing it, they're shooting it off the glass, and it looks so like ugly. And then you just see these fine, like these polished NBA players, and it's just like the difference is huge.
Yeah. I think
at the center
Andres was saying
position.
that. I think about
Yeah.
too, just about the
The
skill
skill
gap.
gap is insane.
Yeah.
Like college basketball, there's so many guys that just go for random threes and they just airball it. Like you don't really see that in the NBA.
No, and I think it's more noticeable in the big men because the 3-point line is closer in college, so like you can have guards who just pull up from three and it's a little bit closer and they can just like drill it, and that looks like the NBA kind of style of play. But when you have these big guys who are like in college who are just big human beings and it's hard to stop them, versus like in the NBA, everyone's big. You actually need to have talent to get around them, and you can really see the difference, and that's why it's so hard. That's why it takes big men like time in the league. No big man comes in his first year and just like terrorizes people, because like you got Joel Embiid who's like 7 feet tall, 280 pounds, who just is gonna like ram his butt into you like every single night and then just put you on the ground. So like you can't prepare for that.
Exactly. And even like Giannis, like when he first came into the league, like it took him a while to like really become like who he was. Because he came in, he was really tall, but super skinny, and didn't really like know how to play basketball because he was just big. But then like over time, he slowly but surely was able to like, it was like crafting like the marble statue, just like etching away a little bit at a time. And now he's insanely good at basketball. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's something as simple as just like the touch around the rim that you need to get used to. Like
Mhm.
when you go to the rim, people kind of like hit it, throw it hard off the backboard, and like even just having the simple finger roll or like the soft touch around the rim so that ball doesn't like slam off the backboard or off the rim is so huge. I mean, you see guys like Kyrie Irving who have mastered it, where like every time they're around the rim, it's a finger roll, it's a flick,
Oh.
it's an up and under. It's just like the way the ball like just softly floats in there. Like I try to do that in like backyard, and it's like air ball, or like I chuck it off the backboard, or like a brute force. Like my backboard at home, since it's like a pop-up net, like will give. So if I throw the ball at it, the thing will kind of move back with it a little bit, so you can get away with like hitting the ball a lot harder off the backboard. So when I was a kid, I had my brother. When I was old, I'm a little older than him, and when like you're younger, like you grow up like a little faster. So I was at one point like significantly taller and bigger than him, and I would just like take a beeline to like the top of the key and just like jump and like chuck it off the backboard, like right inside the square, and it would just bang off the backboard right in. But if you tried to do that at like the professional level, that's banging off the backboard and flying down the other side of the court.
Exactly. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, you were saying that before. I honestly think Kyrie might have some of the best handles I've ever seen in my life. Some of the stuff that he's able to do is absurd. Like just out of this world, because it's like just like you're saying, it's like, like in backyard basketball, it's like you try and do some of this stuff and you end up just throwing the ball just straight up in the air, and it's like, but how does it curve and then like bank off the backboard, like hit the front of the rim and then roll back? It's like, how often, how many times do you have to practice that just to get like that down, and then to get that off like in a game against a dude that's like 7'1"? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, Kyrie's finishing moves at the rim are just absolutely insane. Like he's definitely got some. I mean, I would say the conversation would be between him and Allen Iverson, but then like when you just take into consideration how like beautiful his finishing ability, like the how he can lay the basketball in so well, like it's just absurd. I think that sets him apart from Allen Iverson, at least from the Allen Iverson up games and like highlights I've watched, or not games but highlights and other stuff I've watched.
He is
Yeah.
a talented dude. And one of my friends from home, he made a great analogy about Kyrie. He said that Kyrie and Neymar are like the two same players because the thing with Neymar was like he's one of the most like technical, like flashiest players out there, and he was on the same team as Messi. Kyrie was on the same team as LeBron. They both want to make a name for themselves. They leave, and it doesn't quite go their way. So, like, it was a cool analogy. And like talking about soccer, the World Cup draw
Yes.
was just this past week, and we are in that World Cup year, and the U.S. is back. Like,
We back.
it's
Back
exciting
and better
times.
than ever. Let's go.
Let's go.
It is exciting times. Like the U.S. is an interesting group because, first of all, being in England's group is very interesting. Like a lot of people wanted to see that. I personally wanted to see that. It's going to be a cool matchup because both teams have a lot of young guys that are just hungry and very talented guys. All play in Europe. I mean, most of the English guys play in the Premier League. We got some Americans in the Premier League. It's going to be a very good matchup. I do have like rapid fire predictions I made for each group, and so I'm just gonna run through that right now, and just to have like historically to look back on and just see how
Exactly.
wrong or right I was. So I'm
Love
gonna
it.
go ahead and shoot. So okay, so for Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. I'm saying that Netherlands should take this group with ease because they're definitely the strongest team in this group. And then
Netherlands
Ecuador,
by,
I mean,
by far, by far. That's a cake group.
I wouldn't say cake. I mean, on paper, yes. Because the thing about the other teams, like Qatar is definitely the weakest team on paper in that group, but their team is interesting because I saw them play against El Salvador, which is my team, of course, and these guys are pretty good because they've been like I did research on their team and they've been building this team for years. Like most of their players are actually foreign guys from like Africa. They just like recruited and change their nationality to Qatari, and like they're good. Like it's a whole bunch of
Qatari?
guys.
Is that the actual term?
Qatari, I think it is. Don't quote me
Oh.
on that, but I think it's Qatari. And no, they're
Qatari sounds right.
yeah, because they're a good unit. But I think compared to Ecuador and Senegal, that could go either way for second place. I will go with Ecuador because they looked very good in South American qualifying because they finished above Colombia, Uruguay, Chile, Peru, which is very good. Like they were third behind Argentina and Brazil, so that's really good. So I'm going with Netherlands first, Ecuador second, and that's for Group A. Group B, we got England, Iran, the United States, and we have a European playoff spot to be decided between Wales and the winner of Scotland, Ukraine. And out of those teams, the playoff spot, I think Wales should take it. I think that they have a stronger team than the other two. So let's assume, for this sake, Wales make it. I'm still going to go England first. They have one of the best teams in the world. They are, I believe, based on odds, the third or fourth favorite to win the whole thing. So they should win that group, and I'm taking the U.S. second. And England also, I do know for a fact they have the most expensive squad in the entire World Cup. So
Jesus.
yeah, like those guys are worth a lot of money. So
Can't
I'm
wait for
going
them to
England,
choke in
US.
the finals again.
Yeah, because they have the whole "it's coming home" thing. Football's coming home, and
They
nah,
always lose every time.
yeah, it was
Okay,
Italy
Andres,
and Euros. Yeah,
who do you think the top 5 teams are favored to win the World Cup? I have the odds in front of me.
yes.
What
So
do you
I
think
will
they are?
shoot that before I continue this. Yes. So first, I'm gonna go Brazil. I think
Yes,
that
they're the odds on favorite.
yes, because they have such an insane team. They are like player for player. I think they're the best team in the world. I mean, they are. They are so talented. They went undefeated in South American qualifying, which is absolutely unreal. So Brazil definitely a favorite. After them, I'm going France, previous champions. They have insane depth. Um, they have Mbappe. Like their team is actually crazy. So I'm going Brazil one, France two.
That
Um,
France team that won, was it the Olympics or what? I think it was the last World Cup. Did France win the last World Cup?
Yes.
yes, so France won the
Yeah,
last World Cup,
that
and Brazil
that
won the
team was
last one.
stacked. That team was stacked. It
Yeah.
was
Oh
absurd
yeah,
watching them play soccer. It was crazy.
Yeah.
they might have the best depth.
Actually, kind of fun fact. I was actually in Switzerland at the time, and I was in a French-speaking town. So we were actually because we were at like one of like the I guess the bars there because surprisingly the drinking age there is 16. So they let us into the bars, and we were watching the World Cup in a bar there, and everyone there was rooting for France. It was absolutely electric because like we walked in, and this woman just comes up to us with like I guess we were like what is going on, and she has like face paint and like just draws it on us, and it's like the French flag. We're like, what country are we in?
That's
That's
awesome.
such a good
hilarious.
story.
Yeah,
France Switzerland this past Euro had one of the best games of soccer I've ever seen. Like
really.
France was heavily favored to win that game, and Switzerland ended up winning that in penalties. Like France was up, I believe, 3-1 at one point. Switzerland tied it 3-3, like at like the 90th minute, and then kept them at bay in overtime, and then ended up winning in pens. So that was a crazy upset. One of the best games I've ever seen for sure.
For Switzerland.
Yeah, they Switzerland are good. But okay, so I said Brazil, France. After France, I would have to go England just because like it's hard to argue the amount of talent they have. Like their players are good. They're young, but they are great players. They're fun to watch. I don't root for England, but they are a very fun team to watch. So that's my top three right there. And then I'll just rapid fire the next two to be probably gonna have to go Spain then Germany, honestly.
That is the correct order. Argentina is tied with Germany for 5th place.
Okay, that's yeah, that's fine. That's fair. Argentina are very good this time around. Way better than they were last World Cup, where they did not have a good coach and they just were very lackluster team. So, yeah,
What's interesting about Brazil is Brazil's kind of been off the scene, I think, a little bit in World Cups, recent World Cups. Like they have not been a team that like has been at the top of like contention. It's usually fallen like within France, England, Spain, Germany has been really good in the past. You haven't really seen Brazil up there a lot, and it's interesting that they're like the favorites to win.
Yeah, Brazil
Yeah.
literally hasn't been good since they got destroyed by Germany.
man. Yeah, that's the thing. I was talking about that with my dad recently. The Western Hemisphere of soccer has been kind of lacking compared to Europe. Just Europe alone, because Europe has been in an era of dominance. Like there has not been a non-European World Cup winner. Well, I mean, there's only been winners from South America and Europe, but there's not been a South American winner since 2002. So 2006 Italy, 2010 Spain, 2014 Brazil, and then or not Brazil. Whoa, that was in Brazil. Germany, and then 2018 was France. So it's just been
Wow.
European dominance, and I think a big factor in that is that historically Latin American teams is more so just play nice, just play technically, do what you do best, not as much tactics. Whereas European um, soccer historically has just been a big tactical game. And honestly, with the modern game today, tactics is what does it all. Like tactics and just physicality. Like the Europeans, the teams that usually win are very fit. Like they go 90 minutes, no problem. They're huge. Like that's what it is. Like tactics for the most part, honestly, too. It's tactics. That's the whole thing. That's why there's been such a European dominance within the past years.
When you refer to tactics in soccer, like what do you mean for someone that's not
Yeah.
into?
Okay, so I guess just the way to approach games in general. So, for example, um, you'll have teams that park the bus, like Belgium against Brazil last year. Brazil were favorites also to win last World Cup, and they faced Belgium in the quarterfinals. And Belgium, of course, have a very good team, but Brazil dominated that game. They had so much more possession. They were just controlling the game. But Belgium's tactic was park the bus, which is just like defend the whole time, have most guys just behind the ball, and just play the counterattack. And so all it took for Belgium was 2 counterattacks. They got 2 goals, kept Brazil at bay. They just kept defending. Brazil did get 1 goal because all they were doing was attacking the whole game, but they couldn't break through that Belgian defense for that whole time, and that's a one for Belgium. Like the park the bus counterattack is one of the most annoying things to watch, but one of the best tactics in the game. Like recently, Atletico Madrid did that against Man U, and they knocked him out of the Champions League. So that's like an example of tactics. Like that's like Belgium. That's how they bested Brazil last World Cup.
Yeah, and it's going off of what like Andres was saying. Like when you're in practice, when we were in practice a lot through like high school years in soccer, like they'd have the offense start at like the 50, and the defense would be sitting there, and the goal of the offense was to like score. And it's really hard if you're an offense going into an already set defense to get past them. Like they can set up their formations, they can keep their coverages, and they can like keep their like where they need to rotate and whatnot. And it's very hard to attack that. So if you're just a team that can just set up and keep the game in front of you, you're fine. like keep your team compact. But once you start getting spread out all over the place, that's when a through ball goes through. Like when you watch tactically savvy teams, you don't see a through ball go through the defense and have a one-on-one with the keeper. Like it just doesn't happen. It usually takes like a shot from the outside or a stupid penalty or whatnot. So yeah, tactics play a big role into it. And if you have a deep team like kind of like France does, you can even like completely like decide who to play and who not to play based on the other teams. I mean, the U.S. women's team is a prime example of this. They will change 2 to 3 of their starters just depending on, or at least they did in the last couple years, just depending on who else like is out there who are they playing against, because maybe it's valuable to have someone who has a lot of endurance on the outside at midfield, or it's better to have someone with a lot of speed to kill up top.
Yeah, tactics are such a big part of the game. And that was only one example of many different things, like formation, like just exactly playing who you want to play depending on the opponent. Like it's such a big part of the game, and that's what wins you the most coveted trophy of them all. But I'll just rapid fire the rest of my predictions. So Group C, you have Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland. Poland, Mexico, very interchangeable at second place, but I do think Mexico will make it out the group, but only to crash out next round like they always do. And Argentina
Saudi
winning,
Arabia
of
has
course.
0 chance.
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia can just pack it in.
it's rough. It's rough for them for sure. And then Group D is interesting because you have France, Denmark, Tunisia, and then a intercontinental playoff between Peru and what should be Australia. And it's interesting because last World Cup there was a group between France, Denmark, Peru, and Australia. And this time it's going to be France, Denmark again, and then one of Peru or Australia, which I do think it will be Peru. And I think that France and Denmark are the favorites, but I'm going to go France and Peru to make it out that group. And then Group E, Spain, Germany, Japan, and another intercontinental playoff between Costa Rica and New Zealand. I think Costa Rica will make it, but I think Spain and Germany will make it out of the group as Spain won, Germany too. But do not sleep on Japan. I'm telling you, they have a great team. Last World Cup, they were up 2-0 against Belgium for the longest time. I think going into half they were up 2-0, only to lose to like 3 counterattack goals where Belgium won it. And yeah, that was such a sad like game for the Japanese, but they had such a great game. They have a fun game to like. They're just fun to watch. The Japanese soccer's fun. Like they have an electric team. So don't sleep on them. They could make it out of the group. I don't think they will, but
It's such a tough group draw for them. Like if they were in like the Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands group, this is a whole different story. But they in Germany are like top 5 and favorites to win the whole thing. It's like that's a brutal draw to get for a group.
How do they determine like what group you're in? Like,
yeah, so there's 4 pots, and they have the FIFA World Rankings, and so based off where your ranking is, they'll put you in a pot, and you can only draw people outside of your pot. So like the pot 1, for example, I don't remember it exactly what it was, but teams like Brazil were in it, Netherlands, England, Argentina, France, Portugal, Belgium, and I think Spain were all in pot 1. So they can't be in the same group. And then there's another constraint, which is you can't be in the same group as someone from your continent unless you're from Europe, where you can have one other at most, because they have the most teams in the World Cup. So that's how they determine the groups.
so do they don't want to have like I guess the best teams all in the same group so that one of the countries doesn't make it? So then how much of it is a money thing? Like
I mean,
like
like,
money.
wait, what do you mean?
Like I'm assuming that they don't want to have like, let's say Brazil, Spain, and England in the same group, because you can only have 2 people leave from your group, right?
Yeah.
So then one of those teams won't, or one of the countries won't leave, and then that's probably not going to be good in terms of viewership because, well, I guess the best in terms of viewership because an entire fan base is leaving, and it's a great team or a great country in terms of soccer, and then I guess like does that like true at all, or am I just like
Well, I think that's definitely like an ulterior motive, but I mean, it's all based off your FIFA ranking, so it's all based off just your skill, your record, and all that.
I mean, I think simply you just want the best teams to be in the playoff, like the bracket. I mean, I guess some of it's
just
money, but
seeding. All of it is like
Yeah.
in actuality, it's just seeding.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's Spain Germany group. That's a rough one. Costa Rica, you made it out of the group of death last time, but I don't think this time you will be making it out if you qualify anyways. So Group F, I would say, is my group of death. This is a tough one because you have Belgium, of course, the favorite of the group, but Croatia, last time's World Cup finalists, Canada, who have been on fire form. Like they finished in first place of the North American qualifying, um, finishing above the North American Kings, Mexico, and the U.S., which nobody would have expected. Canada have been very good, and then Morocco just have a solid team. But the thing about Belgium is, while they're definitely the best team on paper in that group, their golden generation that they're supposed to have now is getting older. Like they were supposed to win trophies, and they haven't won anything yet, and they're getting old. Croatia is obviously Croatia. They were World Cup finalists last time around. Canada, like I said, insane form. Morocco is just they're a solid team. Like African teams are solid. They can take points from you. They can always get a result. Like they can upset. They're fun. They like African soccer also very fun. But uh like I gotta go Belgium and Croatia 1 and 2. I will say Canada, they can definitely make it out of this group 100%. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Morocco did, but I'm gonna have to go with the two favorites right off the bat, Belgium and Croatia 1 and 2. And then Group G, another interesting one from like last World Cup is Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland. We're all in the same group last time, with Costa Rica being the fourth team. Um, and Cameroon, they are a great team. They didn't make it last time around, but they made it to the World Cup in Brazil. Um, they didn't make it out of the group, but they are always, like I said, these African teams are very good. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it out of the group. I wouldn't be surprised if Serbia make it out of the group, but I'm going Brazil, Switzerland, 1 and 2. And now we're at the last group, which is you could have a shout for being another group of death because it's a tough one. Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. I mean, this is also a very good group because Uruguay and Portugal, they played last World Cup in the round of 16. Uruguay eliminated them, but Portugal are the favorites of this group. So that's going to be a good matchup for sure. Uruguay, they have Suarez, they have Cavani, they have a great team. Portugal have one of the greatest players of all time in Ronaldo. They have so many young talents. They have Bruno who's on Man U, and he's been tearing it up in recent years. It's tough. And then you have Ghana and South Korea, and South Korea is like another team that just they upset last World Cup. They beat Germany and knocked them out of the World Cup. So like Germany, who were the champs last time. So do not sleep on South Korea. And then this is my favorite thing. Ghana, Uruguay, right? In 2010 World Cup quarterfinals, the score is 1-1. Ghana have a header. It's on the goal, like it's going in 100%. Suarez swats the ball off the line. He's a striker. He gets a red card. The ball is going in. He gets sent off. Gotta have a penalty. Like Suarez is crying because he got sent off, but he's just an asshole for that. He's getting sent off. Like like it's just a disgrace to the game. He does that. He's crying. He turns around, watches the penalty, starts celebrating because the Ghanaian player Asamoah Gyan, he hits the crossbar, and he celebrates off into the locker room. Then Ghana and Uruguay go all the way to penalties. Uruguay win it, breaking Ghanaian hearts. And Ghana was playing for all of Africa at that point. The World Cup was in South Africa. They were the last African team left. Could have made history going in the semis. Knocked out because of that handball when they rightfully had that win. That was so sad. So now we're gonna see a very heated game in Ghana Uruguay. So that's gonna be interesting. And as much
So, does
yeah,
Suarez have a target on his back?
yes, he is one of the most controversial players of all time. I will
Did
say
he bite someone?
3 people.
Wait, there's more than one?
Yes. He is one of the most controversial players of all time. I will say he's probably the best striker I've ever watched play, and he's in the debate for being the best striker of all time. But he is so controversial. I do not like him as a person. As a player, he's just a joy to watch. But like he's bitten 3 people. He did that against Ghana. He's had like racial like commentaries. So he is
Ooh.
so controversial. I hate him as a person. He's a psychopath, but he's a great player. It's no, I don't like him, but as much ideally, I would love for Ghana and South Korea to make it out of this group as 1 and 2, but I do think it will be Portugal and Uruguay because their teams are just way too strong. So that wraps up who I think will make it out of each group in this World Cup. And for my winner, I said it last time around, they didn't do it, but I'm gonna have to go with Brazil.
Insert applause, Andres. That was absolutely beautiful. I love that analysis. I have absolutely no idea what's going on in soccer. All I know is that Pulisic had a hat trick recently, and I was very
he did.
happy about that.
You
That's
guys
all
are
I
watching
know.
this World Cup. You have to. It's like every
Oh,
4
no,
years,
yeah.
you got it.
Always
Yeah.
watch World Cup. Yeah, always watch World Cup.
I do always watch the World Cup. I usually never know what's going on, but I have started to kind of understand soccer.
Yes,
So
I will fill you guys in on any
Yes.
questions you have, and we will do that extra cycle one day. One
One
day
day.
we will do that one extra cycle.
One
But
day.
yes, and then
Andres,
2026, yes,
I was saying what I think is very interesting about this Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, South Korea group is you're talking about tactics of the European countries. Well, there are none in that group. So a team like Portugal, who might not have the best tactics, does not need to go up against a tactical powerhouse in like in England or Spain or
Isn't-
whatnot.
Isn't
What?
Portugal in Europe?
goes.
Okay, it is. Yeah, it is in Europe. Spain. I don't know. Spain.
Yeah,
and,
you're good, you're
it
good.
is in Europe, but like the way Portugal is just in like the little corner, I don't associate with the greater Europe.
mean, they were
But
Europe-
Right
it is
here,
part of
Europe.
Europe.
European champions in 2016.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
god.
they are part of Europe, so you can just nix everything I just said.
I mean,
But
Iberia is close to Africa, but it's still Europe.
yeah.
No, yeah,
Oh my God.
it'll be a good group also because Asian like every country now with the modern game like they're having tactics, but I was talking about historically the Europeans
Yeah.
are known as the tactic powerhouses. But yeah, I'm excited, and then 2026 because both my parents' countries, El Salvador and Colombia, failed to qualify for this one. I'm thinking about 2026 already, hoping they qualify for that, which they
Already looking
will.
past.
Yeah.
Already on to the next.
I mean, I think both of them will, and that'll be fun. I just got to hope that they won't be in the same group, which will be really sad because it's going to be instead of 32 teams, 48 teams this time. So I think that,
Whoa.
yeah, they have a very good chance to qualify, both of them, and I'm really looking forward to that. But also because many of the games will be played in the U.S., so I plan on going to at least one. If El Salvador and Colombia qualify, I'm going to try to go. I will definitely go to all the El Salvador games, and then whatever. Honestly, if I can get some money saved up, try to go to the games like MetLife or whatever, because MetLife will be one of the venues, so that will be very fun. I think
Lincoln
MetLife.
Financials also have
Yes,
games there.
Oh,
they
those
are one of
poor
the
people
venues.
going to Philly. They have no idea.
I will say I've been to the link for 2 times for soccer games, and it was fun. I liked it. I really liked the link. I like the whole Philly sports complex. I liked how you guys got the 3 stadiums by each other. I think that's really cool. Like New York, we don't have that. It's everywhere. It's
Well,
scattered. You got the
first of all, it's in New Jersey. Let's get that clear. All of the stadiums are in New Jersey, except for like the actual like arenas for hockey and basketball.
MSG, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you have like the Meadowlands, then you have like Midtown, then you have the Bronx. So like it's scattered everywhere. Like New York is very like it's just everywhere. Whereas Philly, you guys got your 3 main stadiums right by each other. I think that's awesome. Like I love that. So yeah, the link it'll be a cool venue. I think MetLife was the favorite or like the most highly speculated to be like to host the World Cup final. But if I'm talking like personally speaking, I think the best place would be where they held it in '94 in the Rose Bowl. I think that would be the best venue for it.
Oh my God, that would be electric.
Yeah.
Such an old, but also just beautiful stadium. Such a great.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the perfect place. They did it
gorgeous.
in '94, but I mean, I think it's America's stadium. Like I think that's where you should host a World Cup final, 100%.
Yeah, it's gorgeous because like even when like the Rams were moving to LA when they had like some of those like NFL games like in that stadium, it was so cool because it's like that huge bowl and you just have the entire crowd. It literally looks like one of those like Roman like Colosseum like arenas. Like it's so cool.
All right,
Oh.
I'm going to list off. So the host cities for the candidate host cities right now are Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Cincinnati, Dallas, Denver, Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Miami, Nashville, New York, New Jersey, Orlando, Philly, San Francisco, Seattle, and DC.
Wait, did it just list New Jersey as
No,
a city?
no, it's New York / New Jersey.
Yeah, it's New York slash New Jersey.
Okay,
But
okay,
it's
okay,
MetLife.
okay.
It's MetLife. It's MetLife.
It's MetLife. Okay, yeah, I see
They
that.
go together. Andres, it does look like the World Cup final in 2026 is MetLife.
Is it?
That's what I'm getting. That is what I'm getting from Google, but I don't know if
Giant
it's
stadium.
confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about MetLife is I was actually there for the Copa America final in 2016. It was, I mean, it's like it's a big stadium for sure. It's not the prettiest of stadiums, I will say. MetLife. It's a big stadium. I saw Messi miss a penalty there. It was very sad. It was a fun time for sure. Like tailgating at MetLife is very fun. You have just the huge parking lot. Like the parking lot is massive. So like I have the like Meadowlands Fest there. Like I mean, besides the stadium itself, I think it's a cool place. Because you have so much space, so you could set up like a whole festival for the World Cup final. So that's cool. But like I said earlier, if you're choosing a stadium, it's got to be the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Like that, it's just so much prettier. It really is. Because like when you get those like aerial shots of the Rose Bowl, like that would be so good. Like that'd be so good. But meanwhile, it's like you just get those like aerial shots of MetLife, and it's literally just a giant parking lot. It's like, oh, nice. It's like, oh yeah, there's the highway. It's like, oh, you can like kind of see New York City like in the corner. It's like,
What they
yeah,
do with those shots, like for the Copa America, I remember I was watching like replays. They always like angle it so that you see New York City in the background, and they try to like crop out as much of the parking lot as possible. So it's just like the
exactly.
stadium in the city.
It's like, yo, look at this great view of New York City. It's like, yeah, you kind of get like a hazy skyline, but let's not forget, it is New Jersey at its finest. It is all highway, all parking lot. It is all about efficiency. It's
And
not
like,
about looks.
and respectively to like the area, they always show like the New York skyline and stuff. MetLife is like, I mean, it's obviously close to the city, but from my understanding, it's not like
It's
right
not
on.
that close.
No,
It
yeah, it's
really
not.
isn't.
Yeah, it's not like it's right. Like it's not like it's like right across like the river or anything. Like you still gotta like drive.
It's still
And
like a 10, 15-minute drive to get to the city alone. Like,
right now,
it's really.
right now I'm getting it like if you just want to go into like into like right to the World Trade Center area, it's gonna take you a 25-minute drive.
Yeah, because it's like once you
Without
get. Exactly. It's like once you get into the city, then you hit city traffic, and it's like that's a whole different animal right there.
But even if you cross Lincoln Tunnel to get into New York, it's still gonna take you like 15 or so minutes.
Exactly.
In actuality, it's going to be like 40 minutes to an hour because you have not only the city traffic, but you have turnpike traffic, and then just getting out of like that middle life parking lot is just chaos. So you have all those factors. Like the traffic is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. I've had to make that drive a lot because actually I took my EMT class in the hospital that is across the river from MetLife. And I will say, for all of those foreign drivers, I pray to God you get Ubers and get into those Jersey Ubers because I pray for any foreign person that has to try and drive through New Jersey. Like, that will be such a mess, and that will be so scary. Like, please just get an Uber, get one of those insane Jersey drivers behind the wheel. They will figure it out. They will get you there safe. All right? Do not try and drive with us. It's not
They
going to
will,
work.
they will get you there alive.
They will get you there alive.
Not safe, but alive.
Yeah, not safe, alive. That's what matters. Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we'll focus on 2022 first, I guess.
sorry, yeah, we got to focus on the World Cup
But
that's actually coming up.
as much as I care about 2026 more, but we'll focus on 2022.
Oh my god.
2026 will be hype. It'll be very
It will.
hype.
Sure. Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Shit, man, that's 4 years away. We're gonna be.
Dude, we're gonna be 24.
Yeah, we will be old. We will be out in the world.
Bro.
I'll be still in school.
Yeah.
You'll still be.
Most of us
you
are
guys-
probably
you
still
both
gonna be
will
in school. Like
Yeah.
in like some sort of school. Like
Yeah.
whether like doesn't matter where it is, just somewhere.
Yeah, fair. Out of undergrad.
Out of undergrad. There we go.
There we go. We'll take the small win there.
I'll take a small win at some point. Yeah. Oh my god. That's wild. That's really
4 years,
wild.
man. Been waiting 4 years.
4 years. Damn, that sucks, Andres, though, because you were waiting for this World Cup and neither of those teams got in. That's so bad.
It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
We'll say I
I
do root for Latin America to bring it home
Yeah.
because it's been
Yeah,
way
yeah,
too long.
yeah. Honestly, I feel like at that point, like I'm kind of tired of seeing European countries just constantly
Yeah.
win it. It's like I really don't care. Like it's like, oh, France won it. Like this person won it.
Well, don't worry. Based on my logic, if Portugal wins,
There we go. There we go. If Portugal wins, it's not Europe, so it's fine. According to Justin.
according to me.
According to Justin. Yeah, that's our quality source of the day is Justin's geography tips.
Justin's geography tips.
Exactly.
I think if we want to make a hard pivot real quick away
Okay.
from a little bit of sports
Yes.
talk, we can discuss.
Oh right, yeah.
We won't have time. We won't have time for the one topic, but we can discuss the Avatar tier list. Avatar character tier list, which is going to come out on Tuesday. So if you were listening when this podcast comes out, it is going to be Friday. And then the Tuesday beforehand, we will have recently dropped our Avatar character tier list rankings. And while not much controversy at the top, Jacob has still felt the need to be personally offended by certain individuals' tier lists. So Jacob, I want to hear your thoughts on the tier list as a whole, what problems you kind of got, and where's your head at with this whole thing.
I wouldn't say personally offended, but like I was really assuming, okay, we have never come to, terms of having the same S tier,
He's bad.
in one tier list where we've all had the same S tier. And I was thinking, Avatar, it might just be it, And
Almost.
I was wrong because the one person who you probably would think would try to be controversial or try to say something against the grain did. He put Toph above Aang when Aang, first of all, is just the main character. Aang has more screen time. Aang goes through more character development. Aang has to, the entire show is focused around Aang, and Aang is a well written character. You do have the other two characters, correct. It should be Zuko and Uncle Iroh. Like those are two blocks. But I don't understand how in the world you have Toph above Aang. I feel like that's just an incorrect take, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, Justin, Andres, and Peter, you guys all do agree with me.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I don't think it's even up for debate to have anybody in the top three aside from those three. So, Raj, what do you have to say for yourself?
Here we go. I knew I was gonna get grilled for this. Basically, I mean, why I put Toph above Aang, I mean, they're not for me, they're interchangeable, but what put Toph over Aang for me was, I mean, Toph made her own bending style, literally reinvented it. You can say in Korra, she also did kind of start the Industrial Revolution with metal bending. I don't know, we didn't really set, we didn't really
Okay.
set...
No.
We're not
No,
counting
no,
Korra
no.
Oh, that's what I'm
Korra's
trying to say.
not-
We never...
Korra is not included at
Alright.
all.
Alright, hold up. No one set any rules for anything about this tier list. It was just
Shut
rank the
up.
characters. So I ranked them based off both the shows I watched too.
That's horseshit.
No.
We are ranking Avatar: The Last Airbender characters. All right.
Oh my
Was
What are you
Korra there?
saying?
Listen, I just think Toph's a better character.
Toph was in Legend of Korra for literally 5 to 10 minutes, bro.
Okay, but her legacy still held on. She developed
What?
bending
And
style.
Aang's
No.
did-
Oh my
Literally,
god!
Korra. Okay, if you're really gonna make that argument, Korra lost all of her bending powers except for airbending, and the only reason why she got them back is because Aang came down and restored her bending. Without that, there wouldn't have been an Avatar because
Okay.
Amon took away the bending powers. So, what do you have to say to that? Aang's legacy isn't as evident as Korra's. Aang has a statue of him built in the city where the show
Even though
is.
that's probably one of the last things he would ever want, but he still does have it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Toph. I think Toph is better. I stand by it. I don't even want to give reasoning anymore because I
No.
No.
I want to go
my
back to your reasoning of, but she says funny jokes.
Her blind
What?
jokes are funny. Her
Yeah,
blind
no
jokes are
shit,
better.
they're funny.
Yeah.
That doesn't make her a better character.
Character she stays the same the whole time. Like, it's cool. She made her own like bending style for sure. Like, that's cool, whatever. But she doesn't change at all as a character. She just says jokes from start to
She's a
finish.
simple. She's a
Okay.
simple character.
Okay, I was already kind of on Raj's side of like not that Toph is a better character, but like I don't get the personal offense that Jacob has
I
with
did
this.
not have personal offense to this.
You
I
are
just
so mad. I can see you boiling.
I do not have any personal offense to this. I just think it's a bad take.
So you are offended.
No, I'm not offended.
Jacob
I think
is
it's a bad
offended.
take.
Oh my
What were
God.
you gonna say?
So I wasn't really like that taken aback by it. I was like, okay, cool, I don't agree, but not a big issue. But like they have the whole like Toph changes a ton throughout
Yeah.
the story. Like the
I'll
fact that
give you
like
that.
it's like the fact that she does not change is just not true. Like when they have the Tales of
Awesome.
Amashu's episode going on, she actually is willing to like open up and like have emotion with Katara, and she starts not wanting to join Team Avatar and hating her parents and resenting them to actually like showing that she like loved them and whatnot. So like this idea that like Toph like is a stagnant character, like no, and part of it is her like she's an earthbender, she's solid, she's rigid, she's defensive. Like that's part of like her personality and how she had to live with like the badger moles. So like I don't
Thank
know.
you for coming in to save the day,
No,
Justin.
that's
Then again-
that's good reasoning. That's good reasoning. Like, no, I retract that statement. But I do still think Aang is a better character.
Yeah, I would say
No, and I obviously agree with.
Yeah, Aang clearly I feel like had more character development. And then also, Raj, that wasn't your argument. You just said that she makes funny jokes. So
I also said the other things in the chat.
No,
about
you
how
didn't!
I said she invented her own bending.
She make funny
That's-
jokes and move
that
on.
doesn't make her a better character, though.
Okay.
You can say that Aang can take away bending, so that's just automatically better than what Toph does. Because if Toph tries to mess with Aang can just be like,
The
"Yeah,
Avatar. He has
I
plot
have
armor.
not only do I have the Avatar state, but I can take away the thing that makes you super special."
Oh wait. Back all the fucking way up. You just said
You said I was personally offended.
that.
But-
No, because now what's offending me is how stupid this argument is getting. Because you're saying that, oh, well, she invented bending. Okay, so Jacob comes with the point that, well, he can take away her bending, so that argument's invalid. And you're like, well, it's because he's the Avatar. Yeah, that's the show. That's the point. What are you judging these characters on now? It doesn't make sense.
I just think she's a better character. That's all.
or it can also blood bend. So if you
Why are we
like,
talking
if it's
about bending? They're characters.
That's what I've been
because that's part of
saying.
that's that exactly. But this is part
Justin,
of Raj's argument.
that's why I'm mad. Because
But it's
this
fun.
argument doesn't make sense. We're ranking characters, not like power scaling them. We don't care if they could beat each other in a fight. We're saying are they good characters or not. That's the entire point of the show.
Like
God.
Sokka is high in everybody's tier list, but Sokka gets folded by most characters. He
Not the
can't do
point.
anything.
That's
I'm
not the
trying. I'm not
point.
saying
That's the
that's the point. I'm trying to say that that's part of like that's why it doesn't matter what their powers are.
Yeah.
It's how good of a
Okay.
character they are. I'm saying that to dispute what Raj is saying, not to use that as a point to why
Okay.
certain.
Okay.
No one. When I made my list first, no one established the fact we're ranking on characters. I was ranking on other things too.
No, like what? Name another thing you were ranking on.
Power and all that stuff.
Why?
What's up? Name another.
No
thing.
one said
Character-
anything.
It's a character tier list.
Name another thing. Name
I.
another thing.
Name another thing besides powers.
I dare you.
No.
I dare you, Raj.
Listen. On a positive note,
this is a 1v4. I'm losing
This-
no matter what.
you must concede. But anyways, on a positive note,
I already given up. There's nothing I can say. I'm gonna
on a
lose.
positive note, we all had the right take of having Iroh at 1 because he is
Yeah.
one of the greatest characters in just everything that was ever created. Like, kid
In
show,
all of
like,
fiction. Yeah.
yes, like imagine learning so much and just I don't understand, just admiring a character from a kid show, like such a well written character. Like it's actually unreal. Like he's a firebender from like this Fire Nation where firebenders are supposed to be like closed minded, arrogant, and he's just the exact opposite when he's brought up in an environment where he should be that arrogant, live up to that stereotype. He's the exact opposite. He's the most open minded like person ever. He changes Zuko, who is like the epitome of that arrogant stereotype, and for him to change such like a rigid mentality in that character just shows how much of a good character he is, and just oh man, his voice
Well,
acting, everything about him is just
yeah. I think the really cool part about Iroh is that he essentially shows Zuko throughout the entire show of like what he could be. Because if you remember that he was Iroh's like nickname was like the Dragon of the West, because he was that imperialist, like he was the general like leading the charge against Ba Sing Se, like burning it to the ground. Like he was what Zuko was. But then after he lost his son, he really kind of like understood like the losses and like the horrors of war, and like he really kind of like that's the change that started to happen for him. And I think that's what he was really trying to push on to Zuko, is that it's like, I don't want you to have to go through the same thing. I don't want you to have to go through this the hard way. I want to be able to teach you how to be a good person and not go down the path that I already went down. Which I think is just like, and he's just obviously doing this through being like one of the greatest mentor figures like ever. Like just across the board, he's like always saying the right things, like teaching Zuko like how to be kind, how to be caring and all that. And but then he's also like able to really like show like tough love sometimes, like especially when it comes to like lightning bending, I guess like that would be the term for it, where it's like he's like, yeah, do not do this, like I know how to do this, you should not no, you should not be trying to do this at all, you're going to kill yourself. Like that I think is just like he was able to walk that line. And then right at the end where like maybe for a split second you think that like, oh, maybe Iroh doesn't like Zuko, whatever. And he like that scene where they hug. I remember I was so young, I started bawling. Oh my god, that hit me so hard in the feels.
And he said something about like he's not concerned with he says he was like afraid. Oh, he was like, I was never like afraid that you didn't like love me, but I was afraid that you had lost your way. Like, he
Yeah.
was never concerned about like the things that Zuko said to him. He was concerned about like just Zuko being on the right path. It wasn't like oh, I'm mad at you. You should be sorry that you called me like a fat pig or whatnot. But it was I thought that you would have you would not have been who you are truly inside. And
Oh,
that's like the cool part. And what's interesting about Iroh is Iroh like you don't see Iroh change. Iroh does not change in our story. He changes in like totality from the Dragon of the West to like who he is now, but you never see it. He is a stagnant character, which is there's only a few of them in Avatar in general. A lot of them do change. I mean, if you look at the list, let's see
yeah.
here.
And that's actually a really
Aang
good point.
Aang changes. Zuko obviously changes. Toph changes. Katara
Definitely.
stays pretty similar, but Katara still has changed. Sokka, Appa doesn't change.
Okay,
Um,
ignore the animals and pets. They don't
yeah,
change.
but like besides like
love them.
Azula and whatnot, a lot of characters change in our main line.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just for a character
Having
in Iroh to just have no development at all,
yeah.
just like be so iconic and so like just like Andre said, just so like impactful and like the lessons he
Yes.
gives.
There's very few characters in fiction that you can write to be stagnant characters that end up like it like works. Because
Mhm.
like another example of that would be Captain America especially in Marvel, like in the MCU, I guess, especially because I think in comics, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but the entire point of his character in all of the movies that he's in is that he doesn't change. Like he is so pure of heart and he is like the ideal version of like what like he's a hero. Like that's exactly what he is. And he doesn't change for the world around him. He stays true to his beliefs of like the true like I guess you could say American way, even though not it really isn't, because then he goes against the government. Like it's really just like his true beliefs of like the like ideals and that he holds, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna move, I'm not gonna like bend on any of this. Like, and when it comes to the Sokovia Accords, like he doesn't bend again. And it's like it's very very hard to write a character that like never changes in their beliefs to and make it like believable and like actually have you like the character. But like when you do it right, you get characters like Steve Rogers, you get characters like Uncle Iroh, who are just like all time like great characters.
Yeah, and just even like you saying that is like still even great. Like Steve Rogers, he doesn't change, but it gets him into trouble. Like
Mhm.
he like him not changing is ultimately like what could have made Thanos be able to snap and ultimately cost Tony Stark his life because the Avengers weren't together. They weren't communicating during that time because of what he would not change.
Exactly.
Iroh doesn't get into trouble for it at all. He's completely stagnant. Nothing like he just stays on his own path the entire time, and
Oh,
it's so cool to see. I mean, Avatar is truly, and we'll maybe talk about it in another podcast episode. But like, just you don't appreciate it when you're young. Like I never like watched the whole thing in its entirety when I was young, but I've seen a lot of of the individual episodes and whatnot, and you really just want to see like cool bending happen, and you don't care about like the side plots around, but even just like because there's characters, they had the whole episode where they're crossing these two tribes across a ravine,
Oh my
and
gosh.
the two and it's such an annoying episode. I don't like the episode at
That's
all, but nothing cool in that episode happens at all. But like the lesson of just like Aang pretty much just lies about this entire thing about why the tribes hate each other, and he's like, actually no, like you guys are best friends. Like it just was it was like a misunderstanding with a game. Like the ball just got like you just trying to score on each other. You really are like best friends, and all the tribes were like cool, and it's just like Aang managing conflict as like eventually this avatar figure that was going to rule over the land, and it always kind of builds to the whole like overarching arc of like Avatar, like the big themes towards the end, and I don't. It's just like you don't appreciate that in the moment because again, if there wasn't like some cool Avatar stuff happening in the episodes when I was young, I was like, man, this stinks. And I still like seeing the cool Avatar stuff, but like seeing the little things they do, and I mean, the best episode are the tales of Ba Sing
Boston.
Se.
Say,
Say.
Tales of
Yep.
Bong Sing Se
Yep.
is the best episode of Avatar, and there's not anything cool that happens in it. There's no cool bending. There's no like hype. It's very mellow and just
the
shows
character-driven
just
episode.
character-driven episode, and just Iroh like playing the guitar for a baby
Stop!
who's
Stop!
crying.
Stop!
Leaves from
and-
the
Stop!
pond, leaves from
Stop! Stop it! I'm gonna cry right
Yeah.
now.
And
Like
just
there, sorry.
no, it's just what Avatar is able to do for both like kids and an adult population. Like I genuinely believe that their Avatar doesn't have an age requirement on it. Like it's not a kid show.
Not at all.
Yeah, like I don't know many shows that can have a filler episode be considered like the best episode in the entire series.
Exactly.
Because I mean, it was just fantastic that like I mean, Uncle Iroh's turn, like when he had his time in that episode, like that was just absolutely beautiful. And the fact that it wasn't it dedicated to the actor,
Yeah, the voice
yeah,
actor.
and he passed away. Like,
Legend.
that's even more powerful. And then going back to that episode you referenced, Justin, my goodness, that was like I hated that episode. It was so
Yeah.
annoying to watch, but at the same time, it was well done because it's almost as if you're thinking you're with like Aang right there, and you're like, "Wow, I'm going through this right now. I see how ridiculous this like this
Exactly.
ongoing beef
Yes.
is." And you're stuck in the middle of like some canyon, and you're just going through it, and then you're like, wow, Qatar and soccer are even getting into this. How ridiculous could this possibly be? And even though you hate it, you just have to recognize, wow, it's really well done. And
Yes.
I would say, in terms of, I mean, I would say Avatar got progressively better. I would say it goes like the seasons go 3, 2, 1. One's probably the worst. Well, I mean, it is. And then, okay, aside from Tales to say, if you have anything to say about that, I will be personally offended by that. I wasn't personally offended by you having Toph. I just
Okay.
heavily disagreed. If you have anything to say about that, you're
No, I
banned
do
from the
not.
podcast. Okay,
I do not.
good decision.
Okay.
But aside from Tales of Bossing, say, what is your favorite episode?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but one that's up there for sure is the Dragon Dance one with Aang and Zuko.
No,
That's a
it's
solid
called
one.
it's called the
one's
fire. It's called the Firebending Masters. The
Yeah.
Sun Warriors are on my tier list as A. I think
Yeah.
it is one of the coolest things. Like just seeing like Zuko and Aang walk into this very like from like what firebending is really about, and to see them like they really take it in, like do the dragon dance, and I'm like they're like doing it, and I'm like, yeah, you got this. Like they're in sync right now.
Visuals in that episode too.
Quality.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite episodes, and it just like it's because it's filler, but it's so funny, is the Ember Island players when they see
Oh,
when
yeah.
they
Up
see it's right before Sozin's comment, so it's like right before the big finale, like everything, like the whole invasion, everything.
Yeah.
And it is a stupid play, and it like shows all of our characters like insecurities, how like ridiculous some of the ploy is, like from an outside perspective, and how the Fire Nation portrays them. And you see like Toph is super confident. She's like, hell yeah, they think I'm like this like big buff guy, like this is
Yeah.
great. And then Aang is so self-conscious about like everything him doing being perceived as wrong, and like I don't know. Such a funny episode, and it has like
Yeah.
themes in it still, and it's a great recap going into like the end of it. So I really love Ember Island players.
Yeah, it's really funny how, like, Jacob, you were saying earlier how, like, yeah, the filler episode could be one of like the best episodes of the show. That's literally another filler / recap episode, and it's still considered one of like the best episodes in the show. It's
wow.
like it's so funny like how well they're able to write. It's like, yeah, we're so good that we can literally make filler episodes some of the best ones in the show if we put in a little bit of effort. Like, it's so cool. I think for me though, I did love I don't know what the name of it was, but it was where Sokka gets his sword. And he gets
Sokka's
like all the
master.
training. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, because I absolutely loved everything about that, because it was like finally, because like Sokka always like he gets kind of written off a little bit like at the beginning, and obviously like, that's
Yeah.
like the point. He like goes through that character arc. It's not really that big of a revelation, but he really gets to like show it's like, okay, he gets to learn something, he gets to like contribute, like have this like very good skill that he's able to work with. And like I like that the Swordmaster is so cool. Like his voice actor is incredible, and I do love right at the end, like the reveal. I guess spoilers for Avatar if you somehow haven't watched the show yet. Where he knows exactly who all of them are, and he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, like he's like obviously there's like Fire Nation like Sword Master, and he's like, yeah, I don't care. And then it sets up the reveal of the White Lotus for later.
Yep.
It's like there's just like those little details like right at the end. It's like, oh, there's something else going on here. Like, and it was just such a good way to like cap off the episode. Like, oh, I loved it.
The Swordmaster might be, besides Iroh, I think he's my favorite White Lotus member. Like, he's awesome.
He's so cool.
I think Master
other-
Paku from Paku from the Water Tribe, awesome.
Yeah, he totally isn't so unbelievably misogynistic.
Oh my god, he changed a little bit.
He's so badass, but he does change because he loves Katara.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
That's after
Yeah.
Katara, like
Oh,
The
that's
whole-
right.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because he starts off like that, and then it's like, oh wait, because doesn't he like start getting with her grandma or something?
No, he was
Yeah.
with their grandma.
Was,
but then they
yes,
got,
yeah,
they
yeah,
got
yes.
separated with the
That was
war.
thing.
Yes. Okay,
That-
now I remember that.
so we don't know. Like, do you think he really changed in terms of like him being
No, he's still sexist.
Because it's just like, yeah. For me, and no, I don't like him. He's kind of he's just not a very no. I would
Paku's very
say
cool.
he's a good bender and all, but nah. My two that come to mind for me are Zuko alone when it's the Western style.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot
Yes.
about Zuko alone.
Yes.
I've been looking up some episodes, and I remember that one was an absolute banger. And then the other one was the Boiling Rock Part 2, when May and Ty Lee betray Azula, and they escape Boiling Rock with
It's- that-
Sokka.
Yeah, that episode changes. That sets in
Everything.
motion the downfall of Azula.
oh,
Like, that episode right there is
Okay.
the ultimate it's Mei's like ultimate form of loyalty to Zuko, and it is like it's just a bunch of betrayal and loyalty to certain people, and it just sets Azula
that
off.
was a hard line. I love Zuko more than I fear you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough line.
It's
And
cold.
And you see, like, it's why she's like on my top of my S tier, is because you like see like her undying loyalty to Zuko, and she does not care. It's like she doesn't show much emotion, and right there she takes a stand. And she's like, no, like, I won't allow this. One of my top episodes. No, obviously a lot of people. The Beach is a great episode.
That's a solid one.
That was
And
good.
obviously I think the first episode is also just fantastic in terms of like what it
It's a
provides.
great opener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love where is it? It's in book 3. When they go and describe how Roku and the Fire Lord were friends and how Roku was betrayed, the way they go through, because essentially Aang is like riding on the back of Roku's dragon, and they go through and like detail it all. And I'm a sucker for flashbacks. Like, put a flashback in like a TV show or anything, I'm here for it. And like I loved everything about the episode, just hearing like this backstory and just seeing it. And Roku's super badass.
Yeah.
He's
the second most badass Avatar, I would say. Well, out of the past ones, Kiyoshi wants all the smoke. Kiyoshi is the most badass.
No, it's not
Kyoshi
a bad
Black
take.
Force energy.
That's not a bad take. I just like Roku's character better because obviously we know him better. But Kiyoshi is awesome for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, the finale was also like it's really good.
The solid finale.
It's a very good finale because it just like shows Aang what he's about.
Yeah,
there we go.
But the most disappointing thing about it all is how bad the movie was.
Don't even get me started. That doesn't exist.
Like, I hate
That doesn't exist.
I hate M. Night Shyamalan because of that. Won't watch anything else he ever will put out. No, I do not like that guy. He
probably
destroyed. Is fantastic. Like,
probably what encapsulates like that movie's like entire essence is the fact that he just straight up mispronounces Aang's name and just like it just pretends like that's fine. It's like it's not even like, oh, it's a cultural thing. No, they literally say it in the show.
Yeah.
It's in English. There's like you're also speaking English. There's no translation error. It's just pronounced Aang and you say Ung and that's a different name. And you just don't care.
Also, one
There's
thing.
Several things I have to say about this.
Okay, Jesus Christ, we're kicking into all of this right now.
Mine's just one thing regarding Aang, and it's that he's one of the most talkative characters, and he's just silent in the movie.
Yes. But several things about this. About Aang's character specifically. One, they only chose him to be Aang because he was good at martial arts. It didn't have anything to do with his acting ability. Number two, they claimed that they wanted him to be say Ong because it's more accurate to the culture, but at the same time, if it's going to be more accurate to the culture, Aang shouldn't be a white guy. He just shouldn't.
Bingo.
Also, if you look at the Southern Water Tribe in that,
my God,
you have Katara and Sokka are the only two.
They are Native Americans.
Everybody else is supposed to be like. How is it that they're the two? Like they're white there. Everybody else is ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah,
and then the Fire Nation is and then the Fire Nation is ethnically ambiguous, and they're the bad guys. The good guys are white. I'm not trying to say I hate white people. It's just the show like they did such a bad job. Like even the beginning of the movie, Katara is water bending, drops water on Sokka. Sokka pops up and is completely and totally dry.
Just horrible editing.
That's crazy. I can't remember.
This movie,
I choose not to remember it.
It is so bad. Like this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen that like attempted to be good.
Also, additionally, just like bending is supposed to be something that like comes for like it's part of your being and part of who you are. Like if you're water, you really flow with the water. Air is like very loose, flowy. Like rock, you take a hard stand. Everything they do is super hard. Like for fire bending, like they need a source for their fire in the movie.
Like that's the dumbest thing.
I understand like why that makes sense. Like all matter is conserved, whatever. But like fire bending, like it completely like gets rid of the threat of the firebenders because if you just like they literally have to like take the fire from the campfire.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. And then there's a scene where like these earthbenders, 4 of them are working to move one rock. Meanwhile,
sequence to move one rock.
And like I'm not trying to be like this needs to be like the like I get that it's gonna be different than the anime. Like that's Avatar's an anime. Like it is.
Yeah.
I know there's debate about that, but it is. In my head. And then so like I understand if you want to be like you don't need to be exactly accurate to the anime. Like you don't need to have like Toph being able to like make the steps go like super flat so people fall down. But like God, like one rock.
The thing is, they
Like-
make it harder. Like they make everything like harder on
Yes.
themselves for no reason. It's like you can just make fire happen. Like there's already dragons and like past lives in the show. It's not gonna be realistic. Like
No. And
On
if
top-
you're if you're not sorry, Jake, I'll cut you off. If you're not gonna if it's too hard to do with the budget, then don't make the movie or get a bigger budget or animate it. Do not make a live action movie where it's cringy to see your characters actually use they don't do much fighting in the entire movie because they can't do it because of like what the rules they set out to or their budget they have, but that's part of Avatar is the elements exist as part of nature and as part of like the balance of the world. Like it shouldn't be hard to do it.
Well, part of the thing also about that one scene where they were trying to earthbend. The thing is, in that episode, there were supposed to be a bunch of earthbenders on a metal platform in the middle of the ocean.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my god.
So that is none of them can metal bend like Toph can. So
Eventually.
and she hadn't even been introduced yet. But
Bingo.
that was the point of the episode. In their adaptation, they put the earthbenders and trapped them in a place that has earth right beneath their feet.
There's no walls either.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a camp.
Why in the world aren't they fighting back? Like
Why
they could
don't they walk away?
Yeah, it was
Like-
so bad. I mean, my goodness. And also, what happens if somebody just like literally like puts some water on the source fire?
What happens when it rains?
Yeah, literally. I mean, that was I really just absolutely despise that movie. M. Night Shyamalan is up there with like the Matt Nagy's of the world. Like he
Book Beppo.
at Beppo, like he's up there with like the this shows you how much I hate him. The national championship Clemson pick play. He's
They-
up there.
Our first line of merch is literally going to be like
Surely
just
he wouldn't run a big play.
Jacob's hit list, and it's going to be like
That's
like,
so good.
Clemson's pick play, red line across.
M. Night
M.
Shyamalan.
Night Shyamalan,
Cross-up.
red light cross. Matt
Book Beppo.
Buca de Beppo.
And M. Night, no, I mean honestly, M. Night Shyamalan ought to be ashamed of what he did.
Jeez.
I mean, it's bad, yeah. I think we are all a little bit excited to see what the new animated live action project will be coming out of for the for Avatar. I know there's been some issues with it in production and like getting a screenwriter and whatnot, but it should be coming out eventually someday, which will be really interesting to see. With like the new, hopefully they keep it pretty accurate and kind of just treat it as like a updated animating, and maybe they can do some really cool work with just like using the bending in different type of ways and more creative and like visual type of stuff. I will say the biggest critique I do have about the final episode, Sozin's comment, is when Aang goes into the Avatar state, there's nothing really cool that happens. He just kind of like crushes through rocks in his big ball of elements. He just kind of
That's
like runs
fair.
through them all. He's like, I will come get you.
He just turns into like, oh, now I'm at my final form. I beat everything. It's like, oh,
Yes.
well, that's it.
The season 2 finale was also just amazing.
Love the
season 2
finale.
Crossroads of
Oh,
Destiny.
yeah.
When Aang gets shot in the back, it is soul crushing.
That's just like the.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
And you see
Out of nowhere.
Katara on the back of Aang just so desperate
Oh,
for him to come
Oh,
back.
man.
And it also just like shows like at the end how much Zuko has grown, because you're thinking, okay, he's on the right track here, he's on the right track here. Then he decides to side with Azula over Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh then gets captured at the end of that episode, and then Aang gets, possibly killed. Like they could have very well had just ended the series right there. It would have sucked,
yeah.
but would have kind of made sense because he just got absolutely bodied in all
Lapped.
Avatar State.
He didn't get like it wasn't even got bought. Like he couldn't let go. Like his biggest problem in the show is he couldn't let go of his attachments, and that's why he couldn't enter the Avatar state. So, like he has chakra locked because he wouldn't give up Katara. So it's just like, but he's able to let go in the third season. So
We could literally talk about the show for hours at this point. This is absurd.
I know it. I would like. I always forget about it when I talk about my favorite shows I've ever watched, just because it's like I don't know, it's animated. It always kind of feels like in the more of the back of my head. But Avatar and Breaking Bad are definitely like the two best shows I've ever seen, and it could very well be Avatar. I just like the depth with the show and how you can just go into the psychology and just like the way it is done is just. And we're barely even talking about season 1 here. We're talking about season 2 and 3.
Recycle?
Yeah,
We might have to like.
I think we've got to at this point. We've been talking about this for
season
so
3
long.
alone, man. That's one of the best seasons of any show ever.
the Daredevil Arrow extra cycle will totally be in the coming, weeks.
Yeah.
Years.
But years. But this extra cycle is in dire need.
It's definitely going to come out way sooner than our Daredevil Arrow analysis because that's never happening.
Not sooner than our review on Secrets of Dumbledore, which is coming out on April 16th. April 16th. We're going on opening day. Actually, before opening day, technically, and it's going to be so hype. Before we head out and leave for the day, I want to know what type of bender is everyone on this pod?
Ooh.
Fire.
I'd probably be a waterbender, honestly.
Water.
I would probably say water or air, one or the other.
I'm an earthbender.
Yeah, Justin, you are an earthbender. You
I
feel
can
like
see that. Yeah, we
You
got the
feel like an
diversity.
earthbender.
We got the diversity.
Is there a quiz?
What?
Dark quit. Oh yeah, can you like
There is
what
a quiz,
bender
yeah.
are you?
Now the one there's not really as good as like the Harry Potter house question. Well, I don't know. This one really goes into like how you handle conflict. Not like your personality, but your personality in conflict. So like air is obviously like you're more like willing to just like brush it off, like get away, like deflect, like not really worry about it. The reason I'm an earthbender is I'm very like, and even like how you fight or how you deal with conflict. I'm very like, I will like play a lot of defense, but like once I reach a certain point, it is like hell no, like then I'll stand strong. So I'll send you guys the quiz and then. Maybe I'll put it in our link tree in our bio for those who also want to take the quiz.
There we go.
But I think with that, we will lead off this episode. I hope everyone enjoyed Andres and I being ESPN analysts for a solid 40 minutes, and then hopefully people enjoyed a little wrap-up discussion of Avatar. We appreciate you guys listening, and we will see you either on a future extra cycle or another episode of the Washed Athlete podcast.
Peace, everybody.
Peace
Racing
out.
is hard.